Good Thursday morning and welcome to Good Day Atlanta at 8. I'm Buck Lanford.
And I'm Alex Whitler. The weekend is fast approaching.
Almost here.
Love that. Let's head on over to Fox 5 Storm Team meteorologist Joanne Feldman, who's tracking today's weather. I didn't even have a jacket as I walked into work today.
And that's remarkable for another
for her, right?
day.
Especially.
Yeah.
Right. And we're going to need it, not need it really tomorrow or Saturday, but that weekend forecast, that's when the changes will take over. In the meantime, today is a little bit of a repeat of yesterday, including some areas of fog. I'm just looking at the visibility numbers right now. We just don't have as many spots with less than 1 mile visibility. So we're doing a little bit better here. That fog should lift fairly quickly. And then we've got a cloud sun mix today. Maybe not a lot of sunshine later this afternoon, but since we're starting out with 40s and even mid 50s, I still don't think we're going to have any trouble getting to a high of 70. So we're back close to a record temperature today. We'll keep the 70s in the forecast going into the weekend. Coming out of it, though, a reminder that it is winter. I'll have that for you coming up in just a few minutes. Natalie?
Joanne, thank you. In West Atlanta this morning, we do have a crash on I-20 westbound at MLK Junior Drive. They've made some progress with this. Now it's only holding up a right lane. So Hollowell Parkway is still your best alternate. If you're traveling in on the major interstates, the big three, we've got a red ride out of Gwinnett. It's your lightest trip time right now, 19 minutes from Highway 316 to the perimeter, and your heaviest out of Alpharetta on 400 from Old Milton to the top end, 34 minutes. Buck?
Natalie, thank you. It's 8:02. There have been major protests in cities around the country overnight following the shooting death of a woman in Minneapolis by an ICE officer.
The Trump administration says it was justified, while some Democrats call it murder. We have team coverage for you this morning, starting with Fox's Doug Luzader.
Minneapolis has become a focus for immigration enforcement, and this incident came amid heightened tensions between protesters and ICE agents. Protests in Minneapolis, New York, Washington, D.C. All after videos quickly spread of an ICE officer shooting and killing 37-year-old Renee Macklin Good in Minneapolis, who tried to speed away after being told to stop.
They just shot at somebody.
This appears as an attempt to kill or to cause bodily harm to agents.
The Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, says this was an act of domestic terrorism, that the woman attempted to run over an agent. One Democrat after another, though, blamed ICE, including the mayor of Minneapolis, who said this was not self-defense.
Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bullshit.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Noem says there has been a wave of attacks on officers around the country.
In fact, the very same officer who was attacked today had previously been dragged by an anti-ICE rioter who had rammed him with a car and drug him back in June. He sustained injuries at that time as well.
President Trump blamed what he called the radical left and now begins a federal investigation.
The state can posture. They can talk about the fact that they are going to bring in this district attorney and that prosecutor. But at the end of the day, this will be an FBI investigation that will look at all angles of the event.
In the meantime, the mayor wants ICE gone.
To ICE, get the f*** out of Minneapolis.
Now, the Secretary of Homeland Security, though, is clear that despite this incident, ICE will continue its work in Minnesota. In Washington, Doug Luzader, Fox News.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is preparing for the National Guard for deployment if necessary. He says it's a precaution in case anti-ICE protests turn violent. Our team coverage continues with Fox's Asher Red. He joins us live this morning from Minneapolis. And Asher, tell us more about these protests. Have they remained peaceful to this point?
Well, good morning, Buck. The protests, for the most part, have been peaceful. We've seen some people out there marching through the street, especially last night. Hundreds of people were gathered at the scene of this shooting. But things did go a little sideways in certain times yesterday. We did see one gentleman burning an American flag, other protesters throwing snow and clumps of ice at law enforcement, local and federal law enforcement. And then, of course, people were also banging on the door of the federal courthouse and ended up breaking one of the glass doors last night. But for the most part, right now, things in Minneapolis this morning are quiet. We're still waiting to see what protests do pop up. But Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is issuing a warning order for the National Guard, which will put them on alert in case they do need to be deployed. And he says this is a precaution in case these protests turn violent. So this guard is on standby, and the governor is encouraging people who want to protest to do so peacefully. But he wants to reiterate that guard is on standby just as a precaution. Buck?
Asher, DHS says that vehicle ramming attacks on ICE agents are becoming more common, more of a problem. In fact, it was even mentioned that that's not the first time that these agents have had to deal with something like that.
No, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says that vehicle ramming attacks are up indeed. In recent weeks, she says that about 100 vehicle ramming attacks on ICE agents have happened. She says 4 of them happened yesterday across the country alone, 3 of them right here in Minneapolis. She also says that assaults on ICE officers are up 1,300%.
All right, Asher Red, live in Minneapolis. Asher, thank you.
We're coming up on 8:07 now, and new this morning, Fulton County Commissioner Dana Barrett has announced her bid to run for Georgia's Secretary of State. Barrett was elected to the commission in 2022 when she beat longtime Republican incumbent Lee Morris. She currently represents District 3, which includes Buckhead, Sandy Springs, and Midtown. Barrett joins a crowded list of candidates, including Democrats Penny Brown Reynolds and Adrian Consonnery Jr. There are also Republicans Tim Fleming, Gabriel Sterling, Vernon Jones, and Calvin King.
President Trump is seeking $6.2 million from the Fulton County District Attorney's Office.
And the motion relates to the election interference case, which was recently dismissed following Fani Willis's removal from that case due to a relationship with a special prosecutor. State regulators, or legislators, I should say, cleared the way for President Trump's motion last year.
And that's when they passed, and the governor signed a law for allowing people to be reimbursed for attorney fees and costs in cases where prosecutors are disqualified for improper conduct.
Well, around 2/3 of Georgians may soon be exempt from paying state income tax.
Yeah, that's under a proposal in a bill that will be introduced to this session. And Good Day's Kim Loeffler joins us from the state capitol with the details. A lot of people excited about this. Kim, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, a Republican-led committee approved a final report on the plan on Wednesday. They want to eliminate Georgia's income tax by 2032. A legislative committee has approved a report outlining how Georgia could eventually eliminate the state income tax. The vote fell along party lines, with all 3 Democrats voting no.
We knew that this was the best way we could address affordability, then the fastest way we could do so.
Supporters say the proposal would bring tax relief to nearly every filer, especially middle-income families. Starting in 2027, about 2/3 of Georgia taxpayers would no longer owe state income taxes. Families making under $100,000 a year would see the biggest impact.
Eliminates the income tax on the first $50,000 for all Georgians if you're single, for $100,000 if you're a married family filing jointly. So if you're making $1 million, your first 100 is untaxed. If you're making $101,000, your first 100 is untaxed. You're only taxed on the 1,000. If you're making $99,000, then the effect is it does away with your income tax for 2/3 of Georgians, 64%.
Other families and businesses would see their state income taxes reduced over time, with a long-term goal of bringing them to zero, eliminating Georgia's personal income tax entirely by 2032. Backers of the plan say it would not lead to any service cuts or higher sales taxes. But Democrats opposing the proposal are worried those promises won't hold.
It sounds good, but the devil's in the details.
Now, one proposed way to make up for the lost revenue is to cut back on tax incentives for the film industry and data centers. Live this morning at the state capitol, Kim Loeffler for Good Day Atlanta.
Well, that's something we're certainly going to watch closely. Kim, thank you. We're coming up on 8:10 now, and